It's gorgeous out. Let's pop some ducks.
This is the Upduck Podcast, a blend of upland and waterfowl hunting. Tune in as your hosts, Tyler Beaton, Jeff Ludicky, Matt Jeske, chat about training dogs and share their bird hunting stories, tactics, and strategies.
Well, it's because somebody's using the other account, okay?
Okay, so that you do have a legit excuse tonight for that.
I do, yes. My screen says Eric Clark. Luckily, our guest knows that I'm not Eric Clark. So before we bring him in, though, gentlemen, what's happening? Give me the deets.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Wow.
It's been a while since the three of us were all together here on a podcast.
That is true.
Yep.
It's true. It's true.
But we're back.
We're a lively bunch tonight, aren't we?
Very.
Yeah.
We're all
About 5 minutes ago, we were all like, yeah, boy, if this podcast lasts 5 minutes and we all go to bed early, we'll be happy. So try to make it.
You have a PSA announcement. You have a PSA, right? That you have to put out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
Before we kick this thing off.
Yeah. Who wants to read? Who wants to give the PSA?
You.
Oh, you
Why
have your
me?
phone in your hand already.
You're the maestro.
All right. So, backstory. What's the backstory here? Right. Every 5 years, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources sets the waterfowl season dates. Correct. And
Yeah, the future plan.
Right. And so, right, we're heading into that time frame here where we're going to set it for the next 5 years, starting in fall 2026. And luckily in Wisconsin, we all have a voice. Our voice matters because there are public hearings where you get to go and give your suggestions, right? And we did have Taylor Finger on from the DNR. He is the head of, what was he?
Just a game bird ecologist.
Yeah.
All the birds, right? He used to be their migratory guy. He owns all the birds now. So the announcement is simply this, and I'll read it here or try to summarize it here. So the public meetings and public online input process is going to be starting soon. The announcement is going to be on Friday, where those meetings are going to take place, where the link is will come out on Friday, so you can give your input online as well. And so everything's going to happen early to mid-March. So if you're in Wisconsin, keep an eye out for that. It's very, very important as we have our opportunity to voice our concerns, our worries, what we think, what we want to see as hunters, and we get to express that and weigh in. So take advantage if you are in Wisconsin.
Yeah. We know a lot of people like to complain. So now's the time to make your voice heard and try to make something change if you want it.
Correct. And I think that's right. That's the thing. There's like, we can all complain or we can try to come up with solutions. And so here's a chance to come up with solutions, right?
Yep.
And not just be whiner complainers. Although we all need to complain sometimes. We all need to vent.
You have to. You have to.
Gotta let it out. Gotta let it
You
out.
have to.
Find a safe space. All right. Tonight we have Mr. Alec Bekkers on. He's a lot of things. Hunter extraordinaire of all types of wild game. He is the chair of the Wisconsin chapter of the Backhunters. We'll just say BHA. All right. Chair of the Wisconsin BHA chapter. He dabbles in 3D printing. I don't know. He's got like probably 15 other talents I don't even know about. So Alec, welcome to the Upduck Podcast, buddy.
Well, hey guys, how are you?
Good. I got to ask, Alec, what are you currently printing?
I am currently printing something that I designed myself. I designed a little carrier for my fish finder that mounts to Milwaukee Packout feet because my entire ice fishing setup is based on Milwaukee Packout. So I designed a little carrier so that my fish finder can sit on top in this little cradle, stay nice and secure, and I can just go pop around, drill a hole, dip my transducer in the water. Anything there? Nope. All right. Hang it back up and keep on moving, and it all stays nice and secure. So this is like my second semester freshman year engineering student level CAD knowledge. I'm, undiagnosed autistic, but not that good at any of this stuff yet.
All takes time and practice. But
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like a cool idea. Maybe you can sell it sometime.
It'd be fun if I knew a guy who was into some of that kind of stuff. I've got some interesting little 3D printed trinkets that are going to really help me out during turkey season this year.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You do know a guy, but unfortunately for you, that guy doesn't know jack about ice fishing and is horrible at it. So your fish finder straddle or whatever you want to call it, I don't know if I could put that to good use.
I am a jack of all trades and a master of failure at all of them. So I like to do a lot of different things, but I'm not very good at any of it. But I still enjoy anything and everything that it comes to with the outdoors, and bird hunting is kind of a big area of my focus is there.
Unfortunately, you also deer hunt though.
I do. I hunt anything that I can in Wisconsin within reason. Like, Southeast Wisconsin, I try to hunt just about anything we can. But bird hunting is honestly what got me into the entire outdoor world.
Well, that's a great segue, Alec. So why don't you tell us like a little bit about where you grew up? Give us the backstory of how you got into hunting. Did you grow up with it as a kid? Was it more adult onset? Give us the deets, man.
Wow, this is probably going to be news to you guys that I know fairly well at this point. But I did not grow up hunting or outdoorsy at all. My dad's straight out of Belgium, and not Belgium, Wisconsin, like by Port Washington. I mean Belgium. So he's very foreign. I'm the first generation American in my family. So I didn't grow up with any of this. I grew up with a very, call it European mindset of the outdoors is something like you go visit, and guns are evil. They could never be a useful tool for anything in life. So of course, naturally, I really wanted to get into guns, and I started getting into guns after college. And, once I had money to be irresponsible with, I started buying guns and shooting clays over at Waukesha Gun Club with some of my colleagues. They're like, man, you think shooting clays is fun? You should try shooting birds. And one of my buddies, old coworker of mine, Clint, he took me out pheasant hunting after work one day in the Kettle Moraine State Forest. Actually, almost exactly where you and I deer hunted this past year, Tyler. But it's there that I shot my first pheasant, my first animal of any kind. And now I sit here completely consumed by anything and everything outdoors. I've got dogs, I've got guns, I've got an addiction to spending money and chasing everything that we can in the outdoors.
And giving your time, right, to bigger causes as well. So yeah, you've kind of like hook, line, and sinker, right? You dove all the way in. You didn't just walk in gently. You just like, well, I'm just gonna jump off the dock and just see how deep the water is.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about ADHD is you get really interested and really invested into something, and usually it's only for like 10 minutes, but this shit has just stuck with me, and I could not be more thankful for it. But going back to that like first experience that I had hunting, I didn't know what public land was. I didn't know that there were just these areas that anybody who's got a hunting license can just go out there and find game and harvest the game. And I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And this specific parcel was, I don't know, 45 minutes from downtown Milwaukee. And I was like, this is life changing. So yeah, as you were kind of alluding to, now I devote a lot of my time to Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, BHA, locally the Wisconsin chapter, so that I can try to, protect and conserve our public lands, public waters, and public wildlife for not just myself, but anybody else who enjoys these things.
That's great, man. That's awesome. So, like, how many years ago was that when you shot your first pheasant?
2017. No, 2015.
Okay.
So 11 years ago.
Okay.
Well, be 11 years this fall. Okay. And I have a picture. I don't think I have it on my desk here right now, but I have a picture of that my buddy took of me and his dog. It was an English Springer Spaniel. Is Winston still around? With me, Winston, and my first pheasant. Then a few years ago, my lab will be 6, so this was 5 years ago this fall. In the exact same spot, I have a picture with me, my dog that I trained completely by myself. She got her first pheasant in the same spot, and I have that picture like side by side. And I think that's like one of the proudest moments that I've had in my hunting career so far, but it also is very much connected to that parcel of public land and public land in general. And I like, that's kind of my emotional connection to why I give a shit about public lands and wildlife, is that like anybody can do it. Anybody can go take what they want. They just have to go put the effort in. And I love that. Hopefully you guys understand kind of what I'm rambling about.
Mm-hmm. You talk about Kettle Moraine State Forest. I was just having this conversation with my dad and my nephew the other day. We were on a parcel of land out there, and it's just so wild that you can stand in a parking lot in that state forest or that state wildlife area and look out, and as far as you can see is public land. Like it is that big of a piece of property. And it's just so amazing that you could do whatever the hell you want out there, right? You can hunt, you can hike, you can bird watch, you can take photos. Like that is at your disposal,
don't forget horseback ride.
Horseback riding, like everything. It's just so neat that you can just look out and go anywhere you want in that area for free, right? I mean, obviously you got hunting licenses and parking passes and things like that, but in the grand scheme of things, it's free, right? It's a free resource for us.
Yeah, and I think one of the concerns that I've come to realize over the past couple years specifically is not everybody values those opportunities or those places that like we do. And that's kind of the whole mantra of BHA is, we're all public landowners. We own this land. It's ours as the public. So we should fight to keep that and fight to protect it. But not everybody wants us to have those things. Not everybody wants public lands to exist, period. Or even put the money into protecting the habitats or expanding public access. So that in summation is kind of what BHA is working towards, is making sure that not only, Matt, Tyler, Jeff, and Alec can get to have these public land experiences, but anybody can. Well, maybe Tyler can stay off the public land, but the rest of us,
at least our spots, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I think it's also, making people more knowledgeable in the fact of like where a lot of the funding for the maintenance and the acquisition of these properties comes from too, right? Like these people that I'm talking about that are horseback riding and hiking and taking photos, like I think helping them understand that a lot of that funding is on the backs of hunting and fishing, hunters and fishermen. I think that's really important too, just to make people more aware of that. Because I mean, you guys have probably experienced it on public land as well. Like you get dirty looks from somebody hiking because you're walking with your dog and a shotgun, near one of the state trails, right? And it's, if only you knew the reason why a lot of this stuff exists is because of us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can make the argument that, all right, somebody going to the state forest has to pay the $8 a day, or you buy the $40 sticker for state parks and forests that covers you for the year. I don't know about you guys, but my hunting and fishing license bill every year just for Wisconsin is easily over $200. So we're putting a lot more money as hunters and anglers into this broader topic of conservation. And then that's compounded by some things like the Pittman-Robertson deal. And we do have an outsized impact when it comes to specifically public lands, but we're the only ones, like we're the last line of defense for those public lands when it comes down to it, because we are a small portion of the population. Yeah, we may be footing the bill, but hunters are what, less than 5% of the national population. Well, when you got some I'm trying to be politically correct when I say this, some potentially misguided senators from certain Western states that want to sell off public land nationwide, they're looking at it, one, potentially out of their own personal interests, but two, their voter base is, call it 95% non-hunters. So the non-hunters want some benefit, and if hunters and anglers are the only ones using that public land and the only ones advocating for that public land, well, you've only got 5% of the population that's saying, hey, we care about this. But we have come out in force and we have made our voices heard, specifically last summer. So I think we do have, again, an outsized impact when we are able to speak up.
So that time, I know what you're referencing, right? Last summer was like one of the few times where I felt like hunters, hikers, like people, bird watchers, like everybody who uses public lands, regardless of what they use it for, actually was coming together, versus like fighting about, hey, this should only be for bird watching, or this should only be for hunting, like that. Those groups from different, with different interests, right, and different backgrounds actually came together. But that was my perception from the outside based on what I was looking at. Was that accurate, not accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people came together for the purposes of public land. But what I want to specify about BHA's stance, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, our stance on public lands and waters is, it's not just the existence of public lands or public access, it's the ability to hunt, fish, and recreate on those public lands. So we may have been side by side with certain groups that were advocating for the same thing when it comes to public lands, but I don't know if we're going to be on the same side when it comes to the ability to hunt on those public lands. So that's where our whole thing is, like, we want those public lands there. We want to be able to access them for purposes of hunting, fishing, and trapping. And we'd sure like the habitat to be there so we can actually shoot some ducks, shoot some turkeys, whatever it may be. Like, conservation is very different than preservation or protection, right? So we're trying to keep that in mind, that it's like, well, what the hell are we talking about if it's not hunting and fishing on these lands or at these places?
It's good. That's a really interesting distinction, right? Conservation versus preservation. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't thought about it in those regards, like separating that out a little bit. Jeff, Matt, have you guys
I mean,
separated that and that's in a similar fashion at any point?
no, I think it was well said, Alec. I haven't really thought about it like that. That yeah, we're all fighting to save the land, but you can still have the land and not be able to hunt on it, right? It could be used for other purposes, and that's obviously not what we want. That's not the direction that we want to go. We want it to be able to hunt and fish and recreate on it just as much as. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it like that, and that's I like that. That's really important to keep in mind.
Matt?
Yeah, no, I was going to ask Alec kind of the next step to that. So it's a little bit chicken or the egg, right? So you have this public land, you have hunters and anglers, contributing with licenses and fees and whatnot. And this kind of came up last summer as well of like, we all want the public land. BHA wants hunting and fishing on that public land. We are the ones paying for a lot of that. And we all want the same public land available, but only a portion of the people using it are contributing to it. So I know a lot of discussions came up last time of like, not in fairness, but like, why aren't other groups, what's BHA's stance on other groups contributing in some sort of way, whether it be some sort of different state stamps, state access sticker, maybe you have to have a federal stamp to bird watch on a certain piece of state or federal property, because then the complaint is, well, those places are disappearing. We're not having money for it, but we're also not getting money from the other portion of the people using that land. Like, what's BHA's stance on that? Since money is a huge thing, everybody talks deferred maintenance, properties disappearing, not being managed well,
I'm going to have kind of a cop-out answer for you in the sense that I don't have a very prescriptive answer, or I don't have a solution to that problem. There's a lot of considerations that go into that discussion, but the reality is all of these things around conservation at large are underfunded. At the local, state, federal level, whatever it may be, we don't have enough money. Shit's more expensive every day. We're losing habitat, so it's more expensive to maintain what we have. All of that, right? The silver lining, though, is that we have been teaming up with literally every conservation, hunting advocacy for conservation group in the state of Wisconsin. We have a very good coalition that we've been meeting to talk about a number of issues. But one of them that was kind of put together by Cody Kamrowski with Wisconsin Wildlife Federation. Fantastic guy, by the way, if you ever want to talk to him. He's organized all of these groups together to talk about the funding mechanism specifically, because we have this sportsman's account in Wisconsin that you may have seen in the headlines that it's a $16 million budget shortfall over the next biennium. How do we solve that? The go-to response is almost always raise license fees, right? Yeah, that'll help close the gap, but should the burden really be on specifically hunters and anglers? And that's kind of the egg that we're trying to crack. We've been talking about a number of different solutions. These like foraging permits or trail permits that people have been bouncing around in the news, those are all out there. What I think could be very interesting is something along the Missouri lines that they actually have, don't quote me on the numbers here, but like 0.1% sales tax statewide that is specifically for, their DNR or Fish and Game, whatever their agency may be. Everybody pays into it, and it's specifically used for wildlife resources. That could have a huge top line number that could come to funding conservation in Wisconsin, but it would be a monumental challenge to get that passed in Wisconsin because the end of the day, nobody likes to spend more money on stuff. I don't really like spending money on, well, I like spending money on stuff. I just don't like spending more money than I have to, right? So we don't have a solution, but we're all trying to figure out what the best way to get there is. Did that answer your question or create more questions, Matt?
No, I don't think it necessarily answered it, but I know that people are always working on it and stuff. I don't remember who we talked about it with, but I mean, I'm not saying people complain, but obviously, like when things start going downhill, whether it be your state parks, and cleanliness and trail maintenance and whatever, you name it, whatever you want, or pick whatever public, grounds that you want. If you don't even say it, if you raised it $5 for in-state and out of state, would you even know? I wouldn't know. And then you take $5 times however many, that's maybe not your 16 million. But I don't know. And I know it's politics and it takes forever to get something through, but like, it seems like there's easy ways to cut away at certain things, like even if it be small pieces. And the other one, I thought this about our federal license as well, $25. It went up to 25, like 5 years ago only, it was $20, and 90 whatever percent of that goes back towards, like the refuge system and birds and everything. I mean, that seems like an easy one that if it's $35, I'm not going to stop going hunting. I'm not sure what the number is that it would have to get to say that I'm not going to go hunting, but I'm pretty sure I'd still be buying that stamp next year. So it just feels like there's other ways that we could handle that or could make progress on it and kind of close some of those gaps. But I know it's a lot of politics as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Matt's question really gets to like a discussion that not really a discussion, but Matt, Jeff, and I, we have a group text and we go back and forth on it a little bit too. Just right, and it's more at the macro level with right, like hunter recruitment, hunter numbers, habitat access, public lands, right? Because we know how underfunded like some of the refuge systems are, and the backlog of work, and it's like, how do we fix that? Like what do we do with that, right? Because it's the habitat isn't as good. The hunting ability to hunt it is not, like the ability to hunt is not as good, right? So there's just less ducks, less places to hunt. Like it's just not, like it's not a great recipe. And so we have this sort of back and forth with that, right? And that's what we're talking about now. It's more at the micro level in the state of Wisconsin. So it's interesting. I would love the Missouri solution, right? 1/8% sales tax, please just stack it on. I mean, the price of my 18 pack of eggs is going to go up what? I don't know, a cent. Sure, I'll pay that, but I get it though, right? There's the odds of getting that passed feel like 1 in a million.
So
yeah, it would be a very small number. Like I think in the city of Brookfield where I live, I have a 5.5% sales tax, all things considered. That would be 5.5 or 5.625% after this 1/8%. So plus 0.125.
It's going to break you, Alec. You're going to have to move out of Brookfield and move out into the country where the sales tax is less.
Well, twist my arm, I guess.
Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead. I had a question.
No, I was going to say, I'm just going to kind of rip the Band-Aid off, Tyler. You were kind of talking about recruitment, right? And we were kind of talking about the R3 initiatives, right? So what is it? Recruitment, retain, and reactivate, right? Where Matt, you just recently sent an article over that was from Matt Ranella. And I think Steve Ranella actually forwarded it on, right? Which was surprising when I read that. But anyways, it was talking about some of the downsides of the R3 initiative. And I guess, Alec, I was kind of curious what BHA's stance was on R3 and how you see that fitting into our world.
Yeah, I think first it's important to note that the Steve Ranella forward to that letter was kind of just as a thought discussion thing. It was many years ago, and Steven Ranella has since distanced himself from that. Matt Ranella, however, is not a fan of R3, and he's not a fan of specifically what Wisconsin BHA has been doing with R3, because we support it. Call me biased because I'm a product of the Wisconsin Learn to Hunt programs myself. That's how I learned how to hunt deer. I took one of the Learn to Hunt programs, but we are very much in support of R3. We participate every year. We host events every year for Learn to Hunt deer, Learn to Hunt pheasant, Learn to Hunt turkey. And that's just in my neck of the woods. That's just what I do here in Waukesha County. We do the same thing in Southwest Wisconsin. We do a couple up north. We've done a couple Learn to bear hunt with hound events, Learn to raccoon hunt, Learn to rabbit hunt. In short, we're very much supportive of R3 because I think it comes back to the ethos of BHA is that it's not ours. It's not only ours. It's not, I shouldn't be the only one allowed to hunt or recreate on these public lands. It's democratized. Anybody who wants it should be able to go out there and participate. And practically speaking, and I'm sure you guys would agree with me here, it'd be real nice if everybody hunting public lands was smart, informed, polite, courteous, and not some jagoff that learned from his dickhead grandpa and has the attitude of like, oh, this is my spot. Fuck those guys. I can set up here if I want to. Like, we try to teach people a little bit of public land etiquette as well. So, yeah, big proponent of R3.
Interesting. Yeah, and we went back and forth about that quite frequently, and obviously the big downside is overcrowding on public lands and that type of thing. I mean, I know, Matt, you've had some strong opinions on that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're losing public lands at an alarming rate, and why do we want more people recreating on those lands when you already have to get up at 2 a.m. on opening morning or earlier to get your spot, right?
And as we mentioned earlier, maybe the resource already isn't managed well and doesn't have money towards it. So more people on it makes it sting just a little bit more every single time.
Right. It's the hunter satisfaction side of it, right? But then if you look at from a funding aspect, it's like, okay, I get it. If there's more people, you're going to have more funding available, and maybe you can acquire more land, and maybe you can keep up the land that you have a little bit better. I mean, I go back and forth with it. I don't know what answer is right, honestly. Like the now me wants to say, yeah, if I could pull up to a parking lot and there was nobody there, that would be amazing, right? But I also need to look at the big picture of it too, right? I don't know. I go back and forth.
It's hard. It's hard though too, because where we're at, like where you grew up, right, hunting, like where Jeff and I are at now is the concentration of hunters is so high, right? And we're just in a spot where there's more hunters and not enough public land in our spot specifically. But if you get into,
I don't think that's just a Southeast Wisconsin.
No, it's not. It's not. Like if you're looking at the state of Wisconsin, though, you can go out to other parts of the state of Wisconsin, though, and it's not going to be as crowded on public land as it is. Like
you can go in northern Wisconsin and walk in the state forests, grouse hunting, and not see a guy all day. Like that's not an uncommon thing, but specifically in the waterfowl space, like it's.
I would say it's bounty dependent though, right?
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's I'll let Alec. I kind of like cut you off there. Did you have a thought you wanted to share? Or keep going.
I think that very complex discussion. I think the fact of the matter is there are fewer hunters today than there were yesterday, than there were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it is. It is factually incorrect to say that there are more hunters now than there were at any point in history, recent history, I should say. The problem that we're seeing is a result of the loss of habitat and the loss of access. And that is bigger than just the public land conversation. A lot of it is down to access to private land hunting as well. So this is a very macro discussion, but I don't even look at it from we need hunters to fund conservation kind of thing. I'm not in the business of racking up numbers on a piece of paper for more hunting license sales in the state of Wisconsin. I do our 3 events to create conservation advocates, to show people here's how to hunt, here's how to navigate public land, and I hope it inspires something in you so that you're showing up to work days, clearing buckthorn, cutting cattails, whatever it may be. All of that is kind of moving in the direction of we need to evolve as hunters away from just harvesting wildlife more into conservation, and really put our money where our mouth is. We've always talked about hunting as conservation. Well, at some point buying your license is not conservation enough. You might have to go get your hands dirty and clean up some marshes. But to your point as well, on like overcrowding on public land, I think the access piece is one aspect of it, and habitat is another thing. Coming back to funding, the habitat maintenance piece on public lands is not directly linked to license sales, but if I take the example of a marsh that Tyler, you and I have hunted together, and Jeff, I know you hunted as well. 5 years ago, that marsh was almost all water, and now it's been consumed by cattails to the point that it's 30% huntable area of what it used to be. Biologists can't treat all those cattails, cut all that cattails without money, without people to do it. And we just don't have that available. So we've now taken this big population of hunters that used to have access to more land that they wanted to hunt. Now we've condensed them down into this one parcel that we hunt. And now that one parcel is 30% huntable area of what it used to be. So we're feeling like there's more hunters on the landscape, but that on paper isn't reflected. So I don't know how to solve that in the short term, but I can promise you I'm not sitting outside Whole Foods trying to convince vegans to become hunters. I can promise you it is the people that are already trying to get into it saying, I want to learn how to hunt. If you ask me, I'd rather teach that person how to be a respectable public land hunter or let them figure it out for themselves. None of us got here by ourselves, so I'm going to keep helping them out. But if you guys are Matt Rell and want to fight me on it, let's go. Let's go.
No, that's a good way to look at it, right? It's like, yeah, we want more people, but we also want the right people. You want those people that care about conservation and respect the animal and respect their fellow hunters as well.
Yeah, I think I'll also add too. I think I really like your approach with it, Alec, because you have these people that are saying, I want to hunt, help teach me, right? They're very moldable, right? They're a soft piece of clay, right? So they come in and you're mentoring them and helping them, right? You can steer them in the direction of being right conservationists and good land stewards versus you mentioned, right, the Joe Blow who learned from his dickhead grandpa earlier. That's right. That's a piece of clay that's been in the kiln. The only thing that's happening with that is you throw it on the floor and it breaks into a million pieces, right? That like you're not, that is a lot harder to shape into a quality land steward versus, right, this person who is brand new to it and you can help shape them. So I like that. It's good.
Yeah, that was probably a better explanation of what I like to think R3 is meaning versus even what I read in every, and I'm a huge Delta advocate, volunteer in my local chapter, but like any article I've ever read in Delta or DU or any magazine, about R3. And really, if pick whoever you want to say is arguing against it, really thought that it was for the numbers for things, then you would see a bigger push for license increases, right? Because those would go really well hand in hand if you brought more people in and you also proposed higher fees, that you'd have more money coming in. But you don't necessarily see that as a huge push necessarily, although as we talked, there needs to be a solution somewhere. But
and I think another layer on top of that is I honestly don't really care who, like, if people want to get into hunting, I don't really care if you keep hunting or if you show up at work days and help. I mean, I'd like this if you show up at work days and help clear buckthorn, but I'll consider it a success if we've got voters in the favor of hunting. And like, I think Sandhill Crane is a great example of that. That, like, I know you guys have talked to Todd, and you probably talked about it with Eric Finger as well, but looking at it like Sandhill Crane, the proposal to have a hunting season for Sandhill Crane in Wisconsin, I mean, it's a no-brainer from my perspective. As a hunter, it's like, oh, we have a huntable population. The biologists at the Fish and Wildlife Service are saying, yes, you have a population that can sustain a hunt. The biologists in the state will be the ones determining how do we want to manage that population level. Because wild to think about, you can actually hunt a population and it grows. Hunting does not mean a decline in population, but we're still the minority. And there's still more people out there that view hunting as this evil hobby that people do to just go kill things. And they're going to go kill all of the cranes. I hope we can get to a point that people can have the perspective of, I don't want to hunt myself. I don't, if you guys want to do it, great. And I'll vote in your favor to be able to allow you to keep those hunting rights and preserve your ability to hunt in the state of Wisconsin or anywhere. And that's the kind of the foundation of what I see this as, is money. All of that is great, but if we don't have the protection of our rights to hunt and fish in Wisconsin, I don't know what else we can do.
It's good.
Now, Alec, if we back up a little bit, I know you were talking about access and overcrowding on public lands, and you mentioned that private land access, is declining, and that could be some of the reason why these public lands are getting more and more crowded. Does BHA do anything in terms of like trying to incentivize, private landowners to open up their properties more? I mean, you look at Iowa, they have their IHAP lands. You look at North Dakota, they have the plots properties. I know northern Wisconsin has a lot of forest law open lands like that as well, but in our half of the state, if you will, it's really rare to find a piece of property that's open for that sort of thing. Now, are you guys working towards solutions to that? Like, is that part of your guys' strategy?
Yes. So there's so many different types of public access, specifically in Wisconsin. State, federal, county ownership of public land is one thing, but public access at the end of the day is the net result, right? It doesn't make too much difference to me if it's 500 acres owned by the county or if it's 500 acres that's VPA, MFL open, whatever it may be. I have 500 acres to hunt. That's what we care about at the end of the day. We want to maximize the impact to public access. And the way that we're going to do that is, it's maybe surprising to you, there are thousands of acres of public land in Wisconsin that we can currently not access. We cannot legally get there. We cannot legally, well, if you got there, I suppose you could legally hunt there, but getting to this landlocked public land is impossible legally. And I can point you guys to a specific parcel that is actually in southeast Wisconsin. That's about 200 acres that is owned by the state, not far from major population centers, and we cannot get to it. I haven't been to that property myself, obviously, because I'd be trespassing to get there. Properties like that, we want to, as Wisconsin BHA, create access to these parcels, whether it's by purchasing land, purchasing easements, incentivizing landowners through payments to enroll in public access programs, whatever it may be. That is what my organization is geared towards, and that is what I will spend every dollar we have to achieve. We don't have a lot of dollars, but I'll give them all. And we're working towards that right now. We brought a guy onto the board recently, specifically focused on creating additional public access and making it the most impactful to hunters and anglers in Wisconsin. 200 acres in southeast Wisconsin may be more impactful than 1,000 acres in northern Wisconsin, where you already have a lot of access. So that's the objective that we have as an organization. I can't get into like too many specifics because there's going to be a lot of different parties involved in creating the access to this, but I can promise before I don't want to say before I die, I hope it's a lot before then, but my crowning achievement for BHA will be creating additional public access for the state of Wisconsin.
That's awesome. That gets me excited hearing that, because we need it, obviously. And what do you think it is about these private landowners where they're more reluctant to allow people to access their property? Is it a trust thing? Is it like what is the factor that's causing this shift?
So there's a lot of layers to this stinky onion. One big thing about it is I think this is my personal perspective here. This is Alec Bekkers. I'm not currently wearing a BHA hat, right? This is me. I think there's a lot to be said about the litigious nature of or culture of the US, that we sue people for everything. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of apprehension there, especially when it comes to like accidents and liabilities of somebody hunting on your land. One great thing about Wisconsin is actually if you allow somebody to hunt on your land without receiving compensation, either monetarily or through gifts or labor, I think there's a dollar limit on it, but easy, rule of thumb is if you don't charge someone to have access to your land for hunt, you as the landowner have zero liability for anything that happens to that person on your land. That is state statute. The liability is actually transferred to the state. So I don't think a lot of landowners actually know that.
I doubt
it. I would say less than 10% of your hunters in Wisconsin know that. I don't live in Wisconsin anymore, but that is something I've never heard before.
I need to write that statute down and have it on a piece of paper when I talk to people.
Yeah. I will say, if you guys are going on and knocking on doors in southeast Wisconsin, the statute's actually specifically for Alec Bekkers private access to land. So don't get confused. But I don't think a lot of landowners know that. And now we have like all of this internet access with hunting leases, and even putting aside just like the hunting lease culture, but the accessibility of being able to like email some dude and saying, I want to lease my land because I don't want the liability, maybe make some extra money. It's easy. I would also add there that if you're charging somebody to hunt your land, you're either liable or you're not making as much money because that leasing company is paying for the insurance and they're taking it out of your end. So there's that. But then there's this one parcel that I'm thinking about in Southeast Wisconsin is a very interesting example of kind of the broader picture here, that it's this state-owned parcel that's at the end of a road. The DNR and the state's position has always been, you're legally allowed to access that parcel. But the local municipality stopped maintaining the road that went to that parcel, and it just got overgrown, grew into the adjacent private land. And I was talking to the biologist about this maybe a year ago, and where I was on the phone with her, and she was like, yeah, I just don't really know why the landowners are so against people accessing this public land. And I just started Googling the names of people that I found on Onyx. And the first thing I found was one of the neighboring landowners was a witness in a murder trial because they found a murder victim's body that was dumped on this guy's land, like in the overgrown road. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of reasonable that this guy probably doesn't want anybody being able to basically walk through his front yard because, you know, they found a body there. So there's some reason behind why landowners may be apprehensive to public access. And there's this like compounding history of the local municipality, county, state, whatever management authority, like government bureaucracy, all pointing their fingers. And it's resulted in, we are not able to access this 200 acres in specific. So like all things, the government's to blame. Don't trust the government. Leave it to private organizations to create solutions where the government failed, right?
It's good. It's good. I think I get the purpose and the mission, right? Because you're referring to a 200-acre parcel. I'm pretty sure I was looking at Onyx the other day, and I found a couple of like 20 or 30-acre parcels that are just completely landlocked. They're small pieces, but if you can get to it, like there's a lot of small chunks of land that look pretty good that I can get access to right now with like a canoe or, you know, some other water vessel. But right, there's some that are landlocked. So I get it. I see where you're heading with that. I'm going to take the conversation in a different direction. But Matt, Jeff, before I do that, you guys got anything else you want to stick to or ask about on this topic?
Go ahead.
Topic. No, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to shift gears here, right? Alex, I want to ask you this personally. Hopefully I don't have to edit this part of the podcast out. But for BHA, I see BHA getting hate online, and it seems very random and unsubstantiated. Can you fill me in, educate me on why BHA gets hate on social media, besides the fact that social media is a cesspool and everybody just yells at everybody?
They hate us because they ain't us, you know? No, we live in a very like hyper partisan society, and BHA's stated mission is we're a nonpartisan organization. The wildlife, the public land, does not give a shit if you're red or blue, left or right, whatever it may be. I don't either. Our organization is very evenly split between left, center, and right in terms of personal affiliations. But our organization is not Republican, is not Democrat. So when people see things that we support, something the Democrats are doing, the Republicans are mad. When we support something the Republicans are doing, the Democrats are mad. Whatever. The wildlife doesn't care. Why do you? That's kind of my approach to it.
It's good. That was a great answer. Very, very, very good, Alec. I was thinking that was going to be like a lengthy explanation. It totally was not. Especially since you brought up Matt Ranella a couple times earlier, which, by the way, the account there on social media is Hunt Quietly. And if you go look, Eric seems to spar with them every once in a while too. He had one he comments on, and just not to poke the bear, but to actually ask and try to understand like the perspective on it. And it's very, very interesting conversation. We'll just say that.
Apparently he did a whole podcast about Wisconsin BHA's R3
did he?
events. Yeah, but I didn't know about it for like a year and a half later because I didn't even know he had a podcast, but you know, that's a different story. So yeah.
Did you just take a shot at him? That's great.
At Steve Ranella's brother?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, I love it.
All kinds of rounds out here.
That's great.
It's fine.
Love it. This is why
We're not sponsored by anybody. We can say whatever the hell we want.
Oh yeah. I'm a volunteer. And like this is all this shit's in my free time. Like I got a day job, you know? Like this is all just fun. So that's the other thing about BHA. Like if you're mad at something BHA is doing, there's like 12 people that are actually employed by BHA across the entire country. We're literally all volunteers. Like there's 30,000 volunteers for BHA across the country. I'm not really mad at volunteers for any organization. They're giving their time to something they care about. Why am I going to give them a hard time about it? So I don't know. People can say mean things on the internet all they want. I don't have time for that shit.
Now you talk about employees of BHA. I think I read that there's a new president, right? Or incoming president, Ryan Callahan. Now, what are your thoughts on him? And are there any big plans, any changes that are coming to BHA with that new role, or what does that look like?
I don't think there's going to be any big changes for the organization, at least like the direction that we're headed. Ryan Callahan is going to be a fantastic spokesperson for BHA. He has been so already for a number of years. He was most recently the chair for the total North American board of directors. So he is always, you know, from my perspective over the last few years, he's always kind of been leading BHA, whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the camera. So he's made some fantastic contributions in shaping the organization recently. And I think he's going to show a lot of people the cool things that we do and the aspects that we care about, because he's got a very unique voice in the conservation space. And if you ever run into him at, you know, Pheasant Fest or any of these other things coming up, I can honestly say he's just a guy like you and me. And most importantly, the most important thing about Ryan Callahan, he's a lab guy. So he is the best kind of people. He has a yellow lab named Snort. I believe Snort's actually from a breeder in Wisconsin. I cannot remember what breeder it was off the top of my head, but what more do you need to know? That he's a lab guy and he likes hunting birds with labs, as bird hunting is meant to be.
And it sounds like there's not too many lab guys at First Light. I know we had Tony Peterson on. He's a lab guy too, but he said when he walks into their headquarters, it's pretty much bearded dogs all over the place. So that's interesting.
Not everybody can like reach the state of nirvana, and that's why it's like something to aspire to, you know?
Well, Matt and Tyler can relate, but I almost called you Eric because I've been staring at the name Eric.
Oh, give it a rest. Oh, Jeff. Yeah.
Matt and Tyler can relate, but
Yeah. That's great. I'm pretty sure Alec knew you did not have a lab, Jeff, and that was just another shot fired.
yeah. You
Yeah.
got real close to the camera there. He was looking right at me. I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. I'm glad you.
It's
glad
fine. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I think it's good, right? And Ryan Callahan also has a very large platform, which is also good, right? I mean,
I think that's what BHA means. Like, no offense to you, Alec. Like, before I had met you, I didn't know what the hell BHA was. I honestly, I had to look it up. Matt, you were kind of the same way. You're nodding your head too, or
The only reason I've really ever heard of it was when Ryan Callahan kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, led the fight last summer with the public land stuff and then got that role with BHA. And that's when I dabbled into it a little bit just because I had no idea what the organization did.
and like I've talked to buddies too, and kind of in the same boat where they weren't really sure what it was. And, you know, maybe with him coming on board and being such a big name and such a big part of First Light, like that seems like that can only help. And I guess my other question is like, how do we get the word out there more? Like, why do you think people haven't heard of you guys, and how do we turn that around a little bit? Because it sounds like you guys are very underrated and you're doing a lot of good things that people should know about.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if you're interested in learning more, go to backcountryhunters.org. If you want to learn more about your like state chapter, if you're Wisconsin or in one of the lesser important states, you know, you can go find your state on the map thing there. But there's, you know, Wisconsin and then the rest of the country. But it used to be a very Western focused organization. It was started in the West, and there's a lot of members in the Western states. But this is a fun fact that even a lot of people in BHA don't know. The third biggest state chapter in BHA is Minnesota. Wisconsin is still in top 10. We're not, we're gaining ground on Minnesota, but I want to set, the future back on the right course by making sure Wisconsin is more important than Minnesota in every way. But we're not a very big organization. Like, we don't have 300,000 members. I think there's 30,000 people across the US that are BHA members. But we're a handful of dudes and ladies that are passionate and we get shit done. We don't have thousands and thousands of members in Wisconsin. But last year, when the Sandhill Crane hunting bill was before the committee, our organization alone sent 1,600 emails to the committee saying this is something we want passed. So not a big membership, but we're a loud membership. And that has kind of put us in all of these conversations alongside the big boys on the conservation scene that, now I'm standing side by side with Ducks Unlimited, Delta Waterfowl, Wisconsin Waterfowl, whoever it may be. And we're acting as a team to get things done that we want to see in Wisconsin. So I'm okay if we're a small membership, but if we're the guys and ladies, again, we're showing up and getting shit done, that's all I care about. So if you want to learn more, you got the Google machine, you can find it.
Perfect plug. Was great. Excellent. Feels like it's like the great point to sort of wrap things up as well. Unless Jeff, Matt, you guys have anything else you want to ask Alec right now?
I got some Skyblast questions.
Okay, let's.
I was looking forward to this. I
He's
was
ready.
like, "Ooh, Skyblast!"
All right. So that what you plug BHA. We'll give you get to plug it again after this too. But right, the plug usually at the end it led right into that. Perfect. Skyblast. You know all about Skyblast, Alec?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Rapid fire here. We're gonna let the questions fly. All right. You need to just answer as fast as you can. Okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah,
go
go
first.
ahead.
I've never went first before, so they're going to.
Okay. All right.
Usually I'm always last. Okay. Mine are easy tonight. Burgers or brats?
Brats.
Ooh. Okay. Brewer game or a Packer game?
Brewers game. I'm a Bears fan.
Oh, come.
I have a good
dude, I
qualifier.
like this.
I have a good qualifier for that.
I
if
liked
you,
you,
wanna
for
circle
a
back to
minute
that.
there.
Yeah, it was a
Hey,
good hour.
my dad is an immigrant. He's an immigrant, and that's what he learned. So I'm carrying on the family tradition that immigrant established.
I was born in Illinois, and I still can't stand the Bears. That tells you a lot about that team.
I don't support Bears fans.
Okay, all right. Well, that's all right. That's fair. Oh, that's great. Okay, ice fishing or open water fishing?
Ice fishing. Open water fishing is for fly ferries.
Okay. All right. This is getting good here. Beer or cocktails? Or
Beer.
neither.
Beer. My dog, I can show you her AKC paperwork. My dog's name is Miller Lite.
That's awesome. Love it. All right. Last one. Favorite magazine publication?
I'm honestly blanking on any magazine other than Playboy right now.
Okay. That's a fair answer.
And I'm like, the only thing in my head is the Billy Madison Nudie Magazine Day.
All right. I like that answer. It's a perfect way to wrap up my questions.
Is Tyler going to have to do a bunch of editing to this? Or what?
No, we let it rip. You just got to mark this
It's-
one as explicit. All right.
They're all explicit because of
That's
me.
true.
I always end up saying something.
Alex contributed too.
He has.
So,
All right.
okay. All
I'm out. I had the extended tube in tonight, too.
You did. Yeah, that was good. Go ahead, Matt.
All right. What's your shotgun of choice for waterfowling or pheasant hunting?
Beretta A400.
Okay. Do you have a favorite mount, like taxidermy mount in your house? If you have any.
I shot a big old whitetail a couple of years ago. That's the only thing I've got professionally mounted, but I do love my turkey fan mounts that I got from Weathered Oaks.
Nice. What about that coyote you took home from that deer drive we did a couple years ago?
Sad story. Greg shot that coyote. I took it home. I skinned it. I did not flesh it. I froze it, and I gave it to my buddy Jason to send in with all of his furs that he trapped, and he had already fleshed. And by the time it got to the tannery, the hide got destroyed. So
okay.
Sucks that I don't have a coyote fur coming back, but
Okay.
sorry to whoever opened up that package.
Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt your questions, but
No, you're good.
about that one.
Do you have a bucket list or bucket list hunts that you would love to do?
I would love to do a redemption hunt for sage grouse in Wyoming. I went out in 2021, maybe 2022 with my dog. She was maybe a year old, and we went to Wyoming, our first like solo trip, and hunted for like 3 days. And last day we finally found some grouse. They flushed, and it was like a downhill slope So it was me, my dog, and the birds were flushing downhill, and the only shot would have been right over my dog. And I was like, there is no way I'm taking that shot. I don't want to grouse that badly. So we had a great trip, but I would love to go back and get further redemption of being able to retrieve a turkey-sized grouse.
Sure. Cool. That's what I had.
Okay. All right. Alec, will you be taking any trips this year where your recreation activities don't include hunting?
Like out-of-state trips?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Where you're just camping or hiking or, I don't know, sightseeing some other stuff.
God, I hope not.
Well, you are a married man now, so you don't get to make all those calls.
That's true.
Going to Disney World?
No, I don't have any plans to do trips that aren't for my selfish purposes, but we're trying to buy a house like very soon. So we have not, this is a good year for me to not have to factor in extraneous travel.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Are you a coffee or energy drink guy?
Both. I drink enough caffeine to kill an elephant.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And let's go. McDonald's or Culver's?
Culver's.
Okay. I mean, you're.
Oh, come on, Tyler. That's like.
Well, he said the Bears
question.
before, so I wasn't really sure where he was going.
That's
Exactly.
true. That's
Exactly.
true.
That was. I had
That's
it.
fair.
That was just. Let me just temperature check Alec here, okay?
That's
'Cause I
fair.
didn't know
Okay.
where we were going with this. All right. Okay. Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
Okay. Food truck or sit down restaurant?
Sit down restaurant.
Okay. Favorite wild game to eat?
Elk.
Okay. Okay. Figured that's about right. Okay. Just two more then. Well, no, three. When are you getting your next dog?
Probably the first check I will write after the down payment on a house is a deposit for another dog.
Shut the front door, man. That's great. Is it going to be another lab, I assume?
Yeah, well, one of my dogs is like part of a breeder's breeding program, and we've been talking for years that we want a chocolate male from one of her litters.
Okay. Okay. All right. How did it feel to be the centerpiece of a piece of content for Okayest Hunter that did about 5 to 10 million views?
Oh, I was going to ask this question. I was going to ask him the Jason Bourne question.
There was a lot of very convenient details left out of the context of that that social media post. It was a good post. It was funny if I have to think about it objectively, but I don't like attention. I don't like notifications. So I had to, because you guys made me a collaborator. So I was getting all of the damn notifications too.
You didn't have to accept that.
I cannot handle the social media traffic that Okayest Hunter can. So I had to mute notifications for like 2 weeks.
And if folks, if you do not know what we're talking about, if you go back to the post from the beginning of December, there is a video of Alec walking in the parking lot before we did a deer drive, and he's got all of his gear, his backpack on. He's got his can on the end of his rifle. I mean, he looks like Jason Bourne in that picture. And the funny thing is that we were in the parking lot. Eric took the video and he turned to me and he said, we're going to put the Jason Bourne audio on this and it is going to be classic. And I was like, that is a great idea. So, congratulations on being viral.
This is why you guys are the social media superstars.
No, I am not.
If I could share my screen right now and show you my podcast notes, it literally says, I hear they call you Jason Bourne of the hunting world. Why is that? That was one of the questions that I wrote and I forgot about.
Oh,
Tyler
Jeff,
mentioned it.
that you phrased it much better. I liked your phrasing of the question better than I did.
Oh,
right.
That's good.
All right, last one, Alec. When's the next time we are going hunting, or at least training dogs?
I mean, I'm always on some birds during turkey season. If you guys need a little public land recreation, but like dog training, I mean, we can do that whenever. But group hunting wise, like for potentially all of us to get together, I feel like we're gonna have to wait until fall seasons open up for any of that. So you tell me.
Wow,
Good luck on the turkey hunting train there, Alec. I've been trying for the last few years.
There is a spot in Kettle Moraine that I have killed 3 birds in 3 years within 100 yards of the same pit.
Oh, see, I'm talking about recruiting Tyler and Matt. That's what I'm referring to.
I'm just saying we can
But
make it happen.
I like that too. That sounds great as well.
I mean, we'll see. I went turkey hunting for the first time last year, and we had some gobblers get to about 100 yards, and they started thundering, and I got the shakes, and I was like, okay, I get it. All right. I don't know if I'll do it again, but I get it. Right. I get the
Wait till they're at 10 yards doing that.
oh yeah, that would be,
and you're in
that
the
would be a
woods and they're
rush.
right behind you.
That would be a rush. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So but we talked about going out bird hunting this past fall, and we never actually made it happen. So we got to make it happen this year.
I didn't shoot any birds in 2025. Not a single bird.
That's a problem.
That is
It
a
is.
problem.
It's a problem. You need to tag out on the brown blobs, as a good friend of mine calls them, and then we can just do more bird hunting.
I like that.
All right, that's it for Sky Blast questions. So why don't you plug BHA again? Anything else you want to plug? Go for it. The time is yours here before I hit the stop record button.
No, thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. It's been good catching up with you guys, and this has always been one of the few podcasts that I listen to somewhat regularly. You'll forgive me if I'm not able to do it weekly, but I appreciate the time here, and hopefully we can all hang out again soon, whether it's at Foam Fest or something else this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. We will we'll make that happen. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, especially as a last minute guest edition here this week. We greatly appreciate it. Folks, check out Backcountry Hunters Anglers, the Wisconsin chapter if you're in Wisconsin, right? Shoot them a message. Get in touch with Alec. Alec's the man, clearly, right? If you listen to this podcast, you made it this far, you understand that Alec is the man. And thank you for listening in, for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we will see you all next week. Peace.